Will you hire us? We'll come and condition. We'll condition all your leather.
Okay. So anyway, like we were saying on the other day, last episode, this is part 2.
This is part 2 on like taking accountability for your health and like why like when people say we're fat shaming, but we're really not. Is, you know, a lot of people say, well, it's so expensive to be healthy. It's so expensive to do this. Or, you know, I don't know where to start. Well, hire a nutritionist. I did. I recently decided to commit to just learning more about what I'm putting in my body and just like healthy macros. And granted, I probably could have done it myself, but if I'm paying for it, then and there's somebody holding me accountable, then I'm gonna, you know, make sure that I'm really gonna follow it. And you know what? Since I've been following it, like I feel so much better. You know, like your digestive system feels better, your head's clearer, you're not filling your body with a bunch of shit, a bunch of processed sugar and stuff. And, you know, a lot of people, well, I can't afford that. I know I've been that person, like I can't afford that. And, you know, I finally just thought about it and it's like, well, if I'm following a proper meal plan and I'm eating healthy food, I'm going to be eating out a lot less. It takes, and when you're feeling good and your drive and your discipline increases too, and your motivation to eat healthier because you're feeling better. So there's like, it's almost like you're rewarding yourself. So then you don't want to eat all that shitty food anymore because you know how it makes you feel when you see the difference. So when people say they can't afford it, well, you know, if you eliminated the alcohol, like alcohol is expensive. Whether you're buying a bottle of wine or a case of beer, like, and if you do that once or twice a week, like that gets really expensive depending on what type of drinker you are. Like I wasn't drinking like that. Or, and eating out is so expensive now.
Yeah, it is.
So like now even, like my groceries are in half.
Even the McDonald's $5 meal deal is now $5.75 instead of $5.25. So
it's going up.
Oh yeah. And I know, like we talk about health a lot. I'm not perfect still. I still have like an unhealthy addiction to cheeseburgers. I will go get one every now and then, and I know.
Don't talk about
I
that.
I know. And all it takes is, you know, one whiff, and I live and work near McDonald's, so I smell it all the time, and it's so hard. But again, if I didn't go to McDonald's for a month, I'd probably save enough money to hire a nutritionist or some of these people.
And even the money that you save in buying your groceries too, because you're buying whole foods that are going to fill you and fuel you for the day.
Yeah, you're not just grabbing for the grocery
mindless
cart.
Yeah, and you're not mindlessly buying. You're sticking to a plan, so then you actually save money in your and the grocery bills too.
And you know what's crazy is like, I stopped buying pop. Like, I just don't buy pop anymore. Like, and so, because it's just empty calories, it's just sugar. Like, what does it do for me? Nothing. Pop is, like, bad. And so,
like, it should just be treated as a treat every once in a while.
Yeah, and so I stopped buying pop, and I'm realizing, like, man, I'm not drinking my calories anymore. So it's easier to maintain a healthy weight, because when you don't drink your calories...
And that's like the other thing too, is like alcohol is a lot of empty calories. And they add up really quick if you have a drink or two a day.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. I saw a girl with a grocery cart, and she had a bunch of kids with her, and her grocery cart was overfilling, and on the bottom of her grocery cart was Pepsi, Mountain Dew, and a, you know, Orange Crush mix with, like, you know, cream soda, grape, and everything like that. And I'm just like...
The MVP of all pops.
Yeah.
That Crush variety pack.
Yeah.
I love when I go to a party, like any kind of like social gathering, and they got that multi-pack variety.
Root beer. I'm talking grape. I'm talking
cream soda. Orange.
God, my faves. Yeah. So, and yeah, like, do I love the way they taste? Yes. But are they bad for me in the long run? Yes.
And do I know that drinking water is like the best thing that you can do and would solve a lot of your issues if you drank more water. Like the amount of things that you can solve by just drinking more water. It's
know.
Why don't we just do this?
And water's fucking free. Like, cheaper. I mean, I guess if you go to Culligan, it's not, but like, it's free. I don't know.
Yeah, or all like these people that are willing to like spend money on like quick fixes like fat weight loss pills and shit like that. Like, or what else do we like? What do we, or like mindlessly spending your money on coffees every morning,
or $200 on getting your hair done, but you won't spend $100 on your health? Like, what?
Or like you'll spend like how like Botox is really expensive too.
I think it is. I have no idea.
Like I think it's like a few $100s every time you go. Ooh. So like, well, we know that one. What did she say? It was like $200 and she got hardly any.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think it was like $200 for like a quarter.
She only got a half a what are they called?
Syringe.
Yeah, half a syringe of Botox. She just wanted to plump up her lips a little bit, and I was like, all right, like do what you want to do. Love
it's your body and it's your choice.
Love ya, but I'm gonna say all these things. Love ya,
and make sure that you have like full consent and you know what you're doing. And like, and I think like the thing with like Botox is like people whatever get pissy when you talk about it, but you know, how many other things in life were healthy until they weren't? You know, and you know, it's literally
remember
it's
the
bacteria or it is a
botulinum
it's
toxin.
poison.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like, well, that's why, you know, trained professionals are supposed to inject it, and you know, it doesn't actually like leave the site, and that's like a lot of arguments, but it does, and it dissipates into your cells. So where do you think it's going? Yeah, you're not taking it back out again, and like that's like breast implants were healthy and not healthy, but they were completely safe until they started molding and making women literally toxic. And just because maybe they haven't made the connection with all these issues that Botox and fillers and everything are causing, doesn't mean that they're not there. And it might be in a few years that it's like, oh shit, that was actually not good for us at all.
And also, do you remember, I don't remember when it was in the 2000s, maybe it might have been in the 90s, but the war on eggs. Do you remember the war on eggs? I was talking about this with someone, I can't remember who, but like the whole government of Canada even was like, limit your intake of eggs.
Oh, because of cholesterol, wasn't it?
It was like this whole thing. And then in the end...
Because it's like we didn't realize that there's bad cholesterol and healthy cholesterol, and we need healthy cholesterol still.
Yeah, and so all these people, I know people to this day who don't eat eggs because of that marketing campaign, whereas eggs are one of the most healthiest protein and cholesterols you can eat. Like,
I think the problem is that like so many people, like I think what happened was the war on eggs is because so many people were unhealthy and then they were eating lots of eggs on top of it, so then like the good cholesterol was adding to the bad cholesterol, and then they you know eggs have cholesterol, so they just thought that it was all bad and didn't realize that there's
like, think about all
like
the
people
things.
that have had heart attacks, I know like they aren't to eat eggs because they're at higher risk of.
Right, and that makes sense, but like there's just so many people who just won't eat eggs because they're bad for you. They're bad for you. Like it's just they're bad for you. Like what? No, they're not bad for you. They like. But again, that's like you gotta.
But they could be bad if you have a healthy environment and then you're eating like. And two, it's also how you cook them. Like how many people cook them with a big old slop of butter. Actually, those are things that people don't like, and that's the thing. Like we don't critically think anymore.
Yeah, I cook my eggs in coconut oil, and it is so good, so good. Coconut oil is one of the healthiest fats. Also, it's really good for your teeth. If you swish it around in your mouth for 20 minutes a day, you'll never have to go to the dentist for a cavity. You can even reverse cavities.
Yeah, they call it coconut pulling.
Yeah.
Coconut oil pulling.
Yeah.
I've
been doing it for years. Yeah, and it's great. It's great.
Anytime I have a sore tooth, or I feel like I have a bit of an infection or something, like when I got my wisdom teeth out, they left there's I have a flap of skin on the back of my mouth now, which is really annoying. And sometimes if I eat popcorn, it'll get stuck in there and then it'll get infected. But if I swish coconut oil, it usually pulls all that junk out. Yeah, which is awesome. Yeah. And again, another cheap alternative.
And it's funny because the coconut oil thing was really taken off a few years ago. People were like, oh, coconut oil pulling. Oh, this is so cool. And then all of a sudden there was an article in the New York Times. I don't even remember. But it was why coconut oil can be bad for you. And it was like, of course. They always want to take away.
And yeah, it could be bad for you if you're pulling, and then if you don't, like, if you
swallow all the toxic stuff you just
like,
pulled.
Yeah, like things like that. But again, though, like, that's just it. Like, we're so far from, like, healthy living and healthy habits to...
People just don't know how.
Like, well, because nobody's going to make a shit ton of money if everybody's using coconut oil to clean their mouth, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
The dentists aren't going to make as much. Like, it's going to... And that's a thing. Like, everything, when you look at it, all comes back to money.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good point. There's a documentary about teeth. The Root Cause, it's called. I highly recommend anyone to watch it. But it goes into all this stuff about teeth and how, like, a root canal is one of the worst things that you can do to your body, because when you do a root canal, you're just like, you're leaving something that's dead inside your face, and then the part of the tooth that they leave in there and then do a root canal for, it'll get infected for the rest of your life. You won't feel it. And that's the worst part. They numb all the nerves around it when they do a root canal, so that you'll never feel that pain. Meanwhile, there's a huge infection in there, and it can cause, like, everything in your mouth, all of your teeth are connected to your organs. So, like, there's certain teeth that are connected to your liver, your kidneys, your brain, and all of those things. But in this documentary, you find out that root canals are really expensive, whereas pulling a tooth isn't as expensive. So literally, dentists will often sacrifice people's health for money. Like, that's so not okay.
Well, no, I don't think, like I agree with that too, but I think it's a lot too of, like, people giving you the choice. So we can either pull the tooth or we can do a root canal. Mm-hmm. Well, people don't want to lose their teeth, but then we're also not giving, like, informed consent on all the risks. Yeah. Or explaining them, or we are giving informed consent, or we're doing it in a way that they don't even realize what the risks are. Mm-hmm. You know, like, you'll say it in a way that...
That's true, yeah.
And to kind of just quickly get them to agree to it, and that's, like, with anything, too. Like, there is a lot of informed consent about that out there. They just do it in a shady way that you don't actually... Or they confuse you enough that you're just like, oh yeah, it sounds way better to keep my tooth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and, like, why would you, like, I don't understand. I've never had to have a root canal or anything like that, so I don't, like, understand, like, the logic of wanting to keep a tooth that, like, so the top's all dead and they carve it all off and it's just a root. Like why would you want to keep the, like, because this part of your tooth is what you want to keep, right? Mm-hmm. And the root is the part that stays, so why do you want to keep...
Because they just cap it.
Oh, because they cap it. Oh. See, I would rather get, like, a metal...
So they do a root canal so that you have, like, still something to, like, chew and stuff with.
Oh, that makes sense.
So I don't think it's, like... I wouldn't necessarily, like, say it's all, like, the dentist is pushing for that. Mm-hmm. But most people would be like, well, that sounds way better than losing a tooth, which it does.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. But anyway, people should check out that. It's a really good documentary. It's called The Root Cause. And I don't know what it's on, because nobody would pick it up, but you can find it. I think you can just watch it on their website, and it's free to watch, because I don't pay for anything online, so I know I didn't pay for it. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just, like, again, I guess getting back to health, though, is that we mindlessly spend on so much stupid crap that if we stop mindlessly spending on stupid junk, we could afford to make improvements. And that's another thing, too, is, like, we're in a throwaway society. So when people, you know, get on these plans and the first month, second month, they don't feel like there's any big noticeable changes, then they just throw it away. Mm-hmm. Well, it's not working. Something's wrong with me. Mm-hmm. I don't know why I can't. No, it's you have no commitment. You have no discipline. You need to commit and discipline yourself to do the work. And the problem is like you let it get to that far, so it's going to be that much harder to fix. That's like why I said, like, I've gained weight and I was not happy with it. So I fixed it before it escalated any worse than it needed to be. You know, like, I got my ass to the gym. I ate better, you know. And, you know, you could say that I'm guilty, not so much yo-yo dieting, but, you know, getting lax on my eating or lax on my habits. And, you know, I could say, you know, when I went off birth control, my hormones that's like this last time I gained weight. It seemed like after I went off birth control, I went off birth control last year, and I went back on it in like a short period of time, and then went back off of it all within less than a year, or all within the year. And I think I might have actually, like, because I didn't really change too many of my habits, but I guess like my hormones were kind of like, what's going on? Then obviously my unhealthy habits maybe like kind of crept up on me because my body isn't working. But
because you are a smart person who takes accountability and responsibility for their health, you choose to move forward and make changes rather than be like,
victimize myself. I gained weight, and it's probably because of these stupid hormones, or probably because my thyroid's not working.
And with that, I want to talk about, so we've talked about health now for 1.5 episodes, and for this last 5 minutes, we're going to tell you what we have in October. October 26th and 27th, we will be speaking at the Cultivate Wellness Summit in Vermilion, Alberta, and we will be speaking about exactly what we talk about a lot, which is just not being in a victim mindset, not treating yourself. The
importance of healing.
Yeah,
your traumas so you can learn from them. That's the thing, like,
a lot of these people don't even realize that the way that they behave is direct result from something that might have happened to them. For example, like somebody like me, I like will fold for certain people. Like I'm like, yeah, like yippee, but if certain men tell me something, I will fold, and that goes against everything that I believe in. But because I was victimized by men when I was young and haven't fully healed from it, it's something that I do involuntarily in moments, and I recognize that. I don't victimize myself because of the mistakes that I've made, but that's the whole point of going from victim to victor, is you have to look at these things and it's hard.
It is very hard. You have to admit to yourself that you were weak, or you just have to have humility in healing as well, and you have to also look at your traumas and also recognize your participation in it too. And like that's probably the hardest thing, is people looking at themselves and realizing that they contributed to it.
Yeah, and then that's a reason a lot of people can't heal from their trauma, is because they think that they're guilty of something, and they very well may be, but for the most part, they have to just look at that. I did that because whatever, and
or they develop like narcissistic type personalities from it too, because it's like, well, I was treated this way, so I'm never going to let that happen again, and I'm going to treat other people that way, which is also really unhealthy. So it's really like important to recognize.
Know when you're playing yourself as a victim, and know that you can, get out of that. And I truly believe that the more we can make people not see themselves as victims, the more people will be able to be victors, and the more victors we have in the world, the more we can bring other people.
And people just don't recognize how much in control they actually are of their emotions and of their mental health. And by control, like, we're all a product of our environment. And so, like, it's so easy to make healthy changes, and people just need to recognize that.
Yeah, can I just say, like, I haven't cried on this podcast once. Like, I feel like we've had some conversations where I definitely could have, like, not old me, but previous, undeveloped, unemotionally matured me would cried all the time, and yeah, I still cry a lot, but not nearly as much as I did before. And that's because I looked at who I was and things that happened to me, and recognized that I did things to cause my own pain. And then I was able to heal from it once I was able to just look at myself in the mirror.
And be honest. That's the thing. Like, until we are honest with ourselves, you can't, like, you just, honesty. And, like, that's, like, one of the biggest things in life, is if we were all just honest with each other, a lot of the issues there wouldn't be any issues.
Exactly. So with that, definitely register for the event in Vermilion. It's called, the Cultivate Wellness Summit. You can go to @BornCountryEssentials on Instagram. And I think the website is even borncountryessentials.com, and it'll take you right to the registration page. It's going to be a great event. There's going to be Reiki there, and there's a bunch of mental health presentations,
blood analysis,
sacrocranial massages, which I don't know what that is, but I'm really excited to look into what it could be. So yeah, it's a wellness event. So everything we've been talking about,
it's everything health
and responsibility and cultivate, and like the whole point is to cultivate your own wellness. So we can't wait for that, and we'll see you there, and goodbye.